what's up you guys? My name is Swati and welcome back to my channel where if the book is nice, we read it twice. Today I'm bringing you the most anticipated release of July 2023. So I missed doing it in June because I was slightly tied up, but now I'm back in full force. In July I have a lot of anticipated books that I want to read. So this is the list of my top 23 books that I am dying to get my hands on. So let's begin with the video. So the first book is coming out on 4th of July. It is A Good House for Children. It is a feminist horror haunted house story where Lydia now and Orla 4 decades ago felt presence of something sinister, and they were somebody who kept close to the children. No one believed them. Do you? The next book that I want to talk about is The Woods Are Waiting. It is coming out on 11th July. 5 years ago, Jasper was convicted of killing 3 children. Because of his heinous crime, he is now in prison. But children are starting to disappear again. Chima and Nathalie are on this case. Chima grew up in this town of superstition but left when history became too much for her. But now she is back. The town's terrifying past. This sounds like a typical thriller, but the ratings are good and I'm always interested in the wrongly convicted trope. Next, it is mid of summer, and sometimes people enjoy reading about winter during the summer. If you are one of those, this book is for you. This is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates, coming out on 11th. I have not read Darcy Coates before, but I am very interested in reading one of her books and I might start with this one. This is a secluded cabin story. It is a cabin secluded because of a snowstorm, and a tour group of 8 people who don't know each other previously are stuck there. Krista believes that she is safe there, but she is wrong. The tour guide is found dead with his head cut off and spiked on the tree in the morning next day, and the speculations flow. The killer is among them, but who? So this is Darcy Coates' take on snowy thriller, and I'm very interested in it. The next book that is coming out on 11th again. It is The Bone of the Story. Now this is another winter story for summer. In this, another winter storm story for the summer, where the group of ex-students are trapped in their college campus. Since last 2 months and even now, we are seeing an upsurge in close circle isolated mystery in thrillers, and I am here for it. I think people are eating it up, and so am I. So I don't mind to read this scenario once again. This is Carol Goodman's take on this trope, and she's a 2-time Mary Higgins Clark Award winner, and I'm very interested in seeing what she does with it. The next I want to talk about is also coming on 11th. It is The Beast You Are Stories. This is another one by Paul Tremblay. It is a short story collection who's known for his literary horror and psychological suspense. So I'm here for it. I think I have the Paul Bearers Club on my TBR. I have not read it yet, but I would not mind reading this one as well. Next is again a repeat trope on this list. The first book that I'm mentioning is Burn the Negative. It is coming out on 11th again. It is the 20 years later kind of a story where a cursed film is restarted to be remade and people start dying again. So Laura played this little child in the story where she had this eerie power of telling how the Needleman will kill people. When the crew started getting killed off in eerily similar fashion, the production stopped. Now she is a journalist and she is coming back to cover the story of remake of the movie, only to find that the murders are resurfacing again. Sounds very campy, very interesting. I would love to see what happens with this one and another one. Wait for it when I tell you about it. So the next book I want to talk about is What Never Happened, coming out on 11th July. Coco is back in the town where she grew up, and now she has positioned herself as an obituary writer in her friend's local newspaper. After some time, she discovers that there is a pattern of old people dying, but not of natural causes. When she discovers this, suddenly she receives a death threat in her mail as form of her own obituary. The next book coming out on 11th July is The Boys in the Valley. Now listen to this. This is Exorcist meets The Lord of the Flies. So this is a story about bunch of students who worship, learn and reside together in an orphanage. There are 30 boys, and one day some people come into the orphanage. One of them is severely wounded with occult symbols carved into his body. He soon dies and releases an ancient evil which spreads like sickness among the students. Now they are camping up against each other, and some are getting violent. People are ending up dead. Which side will you choose? So in the next book is Thicker in Water, coming out on 11th of July. In this book, Julia's husband falls into coma because of a car accident. Soon he is declared as the prime suspect for murder of his boss. His sister Sienna maintains that her brother can never do such a thing, but Julia is not so sure. They both investigate. The next book is coming out on 18th of July. This is The Strange Sally Diamond. It is a story about an enigmatic woman named Sally Diamond who is confronting her unknown past. She is a reclusive woman, causes an outrage when she tries to incinerate her dead father. The next book coming out on 18th is The Block Party. It is another take on The Big Little Lies. Basically, there is a murder on the night of annual summer block party, and trying to find out who did it takes us 1 year back. The next book I want to read is Camp Damascus, coming out on 18th. It is a horror press thriller where the Camp Damascus is a camp which self-proclaims itself to be the most effective gay conversion camp in the country. But the secret behind the conversions are anything but holy. This is a satire which cuts deeply into nuts and bolts of culture and faith. The next book coming out on 18th is Silver Nitrate. This is the second director and actor cursed film story that I wanted to talk about. In this, the director is reshooting a cursed film about a Nazi occult with Monsteretta and her best friend Tristan. As soon as the shooting starts, Montserrat starts feeling a dark presence in her life, and Tristan actually saw his ex-dead girlfriend. Soon they find more about the obscure dead occultist who lived in the city. The next book I want to talk about is How Can I Help You? It's a bookish story of two librarians, but it's a thriller. Two local librarians' life get dangerously entwined. Margot has left countless premature death in her wake as a nurse. Now she has switched into a position of a librarian where nobody knows her past. Patricia is a failed novelist who notices the subtle sinister edge of Margot from the beginning and keeps an eye on her, suddenly to be alarmed by death of a patron in the library bathroom, and then she starts digging for more. So this is a story about obsession and serial killing, and it's story about two women with toxic traits. So I'm very interested in this one. I can't wait to get my hands on this. The next one is also sci-fi, coming out again on 18th July. It is The Deep Sky. This is a sci-fi where Earth environmental collapse is a true situation. A single ship of survivor has been sent out to carry out humanity's last hope. These people are supposed to repopulate the colony and bring back humanity to Earth. But as soon as the ship leaves, there is a sudden explosion in the ship that leaves survivors questioning each other's faith to the cause and the loyalty of the crew. So sounds very interesting. It's again a closed circle mystery but in space. So it is 2 for 2. Next I have a twisted love story by Samantha Downing. I have heard so many good things about this author and always her premises sounds so interesting that I always feel like reading them, but I have just one book of hers on my TBR that I will be reading today itself, so that when this book releases I'll be ready to pounce on it. This is a twisted love story coming out on 18th. Wes and Ivy are madly in love. When it is good, it is great. Grand gestures, spending hours talking about things. When it is bad, it is vengeful fights, damaged property and arrest warrant. They do not talk about a particular night when things got a little too crazy. The things went a little too far and somebody ended up dying. Now they have a common enemy and she is a detective. And only hope is for them to stay together so that they do not fall into her hands. So again, one of a more interesting synopsis that I have heard in a very long time. I'm dying to get good reviews on this one. The next book is None of This Is True, coming out on 20th. This is the new Lisa Jewell. It has around 4.5 rating in Goodreads, and that is anything above 4.2 generally is a must read. So this is a story about Alex and Josie. They keep on bumping into each other. Soon they find out that they are also birthday twins. Their 45th birthday has come on the same date. Even though Josie intimidates Alex, she has somehow intertwined herself into her life and her home. But soon Josie disappears and Alex finds that Josie has left a very terrifying legacy in her wake. Alice's podcast is about true crime and soon she finds her story to be the part of her podcast, where her life and life of her family comes into light because they are under mortal threat. So sounds ambiguously delicious and very very consumable. I am floored by the rating it has and I can't wait to read this one as well. See, I always say I can't wait to read all the books that I mention, but it is nearly impossible to read older books as well as newer books and so many of them in 1 month. That's why I make these videos, to let people know about latest releases that are coming. So on to the next one. Next one is this new Sherry Lapina. It is Everyone Here Is Lying. I absolutely love her Couple Next Door. It was so enticing. The game of cat and mouse was so interesting. So I'm dying to get into this one. Now this one also sounds very promising. William Wooler is having an affair, and on that day his affair ends horribly in the afternoon. When he returns to his house, he sees his difficult 9-year-old daughter Avery unexpectedly in the house. Few hours later, they declare her missing. Who took Avery? Nothing will prepare you for the truth. There's a lot of close-knit neighborhoods, people involved in the story, as well as a big question that can a parent hurt his child? This is coming out on 20th July. So this sounds very promising. Let's get on to the next one. The next one is coming out on 25th. It is Prom Mom. Amber Glass allegedly killed her baby when her date Joe bailed on her on the date of the prom. Now she is back in town after 11 years and Joe is happily married but is suddenly drawn towards her. Then Joe asks Amber for her to do the unthinkable for him. Will she comply? Read this to find. So nowadays in books there is a lot of going back to their small town, and because the small town dynamics is loved in these stories. The next one is One of Us Is Back by Karen McManus. Now One of Us Is Lying is one of my all-time favorite YAs, and in the first one there was Simon who killed himself. Ever since Simon died in the detention, the life of Bayview crew has never been the same. History repeated itself in form of copycat for the new generation, and now somebody is at it again. So this is installment 3. Somebody is going to die. Somebody is going to get accused. The accuser would not be the right perpetrator. We know how it goes, but it's still very, very enjoyable. The next one also coming out on 25th is These Vicious Games. The blurb of it is Ace of Spade meets the Squid Games with a pinch of Bachelor. It is, consider my mind blown. It is a story about Adriana Walker who must work twice to get half as much. To get into the Ivy League of her choice, she has entered in a competition of high stakes. Soon she finds out that the high stakes are not just getting into the Ivy League but also life and death. And only way for her to survive here is to change the rules. This sounds promising. It's also a commentary on racism and the culture. I'm very interested in. The second last book that I want to talk about is a light-hearted mystery. This is Mrs. Planskys Revenge, coming out on 25th of July. One night, Mrs. Plansky receives a call from her grandson Will, stating that he needs some money. She obviously complies, soon to find out that that was not actually his son but somebody else posing and causing her to lose all of her life savings. She is humiliated, but nothing can be done and they cannot be traced back, and she refuses to become another victim. She follows clues and finds herself in Romania, a small town in Romania, to get her money as well as dignity back. Sounds very interesting. I would love to see an old person show it to the world how it's done. And this is a cozy mystery. I hope there is no death in it, and sounds lovely, so I want to read it as soon as possible. The last book that I have for you guys is a fantasy, The Weaver and the Witch Queen by Genevieve Gornichik. She is the acclaimed author of The Witch's Heart, which was very well praised last year. So this story is about two women. One is very desperate to save her sister from dying, who has been missing. Another is destined to become the Queen of Norway. Their life entwined in this spellbinding, powerful story of Viking Age history and myth from this acclaimed author. So those are all the books I have for you guys today. These are 23 books that I'm highly anticipated in July. I hope you liked them and you would pick some of them. Let me know if you read any of them and should I pick them too. So that's all for today, guys. Like and subscribe if you like what I do over here. Push the notification bell so that you would know when another video comes. I will see you in another video soon. Bye bye.